Welcome to another episode of JAG University. I am your host today, Donte Harris, and I'm here with my good friend, the Cannabis Lawyer.
Oh my God,
Danny Torres. I gave you that title.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna roll with it.
That's good. How you doing today, Danny?
Doing good.
Man, thanks for coming in. Thanks for sitting down
me.
and having conversation.
Yeah.
What I love about JAG University is it's informative. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not one of those podcasts that you have to listen to for 25 or 35 minutes in the car. We're going to try and package this so that people can be informed,
Awesome.
They can get it efficiently, and we can ask some of the burning questions. Well, one of the burning questions I have. So let's just jump right into it. Danny, in the cannabis industry, in the realm, whether you're a manufacturer, whether you're a distributor, whether you just have a store right in your local town, what are some of the pitfalls that you see from a legal standpoint for people who own any kind of business in the cannabis industry?
Yeah. I would say the first thing, and you just touched on it, and what we're doing right now is education. I think there's still a lot of misinformation. There's still a lot of those questions as to what is legal, what is not legal, what can I do, what can I not do. And then because of that, you see people that operate in the cannabis space finding themselves limited to resources. For example, banking. Yeah, the banking industry is still kind of iffy about cannabis, hemp, what is legal, what is illegal. Their compliance programs are not up to date. So,
well, I mean, I would think like banks are a little bit more conservative, like in insurance. Like, we don't have a lot of carriers that are willing and wanting to write cannabis just yet. I think they're waiting. It's a wait and see approach.
Correct.
It's like, how does this carrier take care of it, and how does it come back around to bite them if it does? But they want to make sure that they're not the first. No one wants to be the first in some of these conservative industries.
Yeah. No one wants to be the first, and no one wants to be the first to get in trouble.
Oh man, speaking of my life.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. But yeah, that's part of the pitfalls that they see is how do I operate legally? Because again, it's just a business like any other business. You could be running a bakery, and basically it's kind of the same thing. But the product that you're selling at the bakery has been around for decades. It's completely legal. Right. And then what you're doing on the cannabis space, whether you're doing it on the high THC or the hemp side, it's still new. It's still part of the house is still illegal under federal law. So it's a very murky water.
Right. It's a gray area. It's not as black and white.
Like the lawyers like to say, depends.
Man, that's a good line. Okay, so you just touched on something that I want to know a little bit more about, and I know that maybe this is a good, but we got 50 states plus Puerto Rico.
And D.C.
Don't forget about the District of Columbia. And then we have those separate from the federal. So on the federal side, it's illegal, but on the state side, in some cases, in some different states, I think you said 36 plus at this point, it's legal. How is that even possible?
Yeah, and that is the question.
Okay.
Right? So cannabis has, it's a plant family.
Okay.
And we have two that are the most well-known.
Right.
One was legalized at the federal level in December of 2018. That's what we call hemp.
Okay.
Yes. And again, hemp is a legal construct. Cannabis that has less than 0.3% THC is considered hemp. Cannabis that has a higher content of THC is considered marijuana.
Got it.
Marijuana is still illegal at the federal level. It is still a Schedule I substance under the Controlled Substances Act. And so that answer is easy. At the federal level, it's completely illegal to grow, manufacture, or deal with marijuana.
Okay.
And it is 100% legal to deal with hemp. And then you have to take it down to the state level. And every state has its own cannabis law, which means that we're dealing with 50 countries plus a few jurisdictions like Puerto Rico and D.C. That may have a medical program, may have an adult use program, may have both, and each law is going to be different. So, for example, in a medical program in Florida, a medical program in Texas, the conditions that allow you to have access as a patient those conditions could be very different. For example, Texas just included PTSD as one of the qualifying conditions for cannabis. Other states don't include it. So
really?
it's all very different. So each state, when I'm advising clients that are multi-state operators or they have businesses in different jurisdictions, we have to look at every state law to make sure that we are in full compliance with whatever that state requires, still keeping in mind that we are operating under a Schedule I umbrella at the federal level that makes the cannabis industry still federally illegal.
Okay, so let's say one of my clients, they operate out of Ohio, okay? And then
That's going to be a great program, by the way.
and then they're also going to have another office, right, or another grower in Colorado. Now, because they're the same company, yet they're in different states, they have different rules and regulations to follow in those two states.
100%. 100%.
Wow.
The rules are going to be completely different. What they're doing in Ohio, what they're doing in Colorado,
Yeah.
100% different. Most clients would even go as far as to create a holding company and then have two operating companies in each state so that they don't commingle funds, so that they don't touch each other. So,
and I have a client like that. So that makes a lot more sense because they have different policies that start up at different times, and it's all because of when did they start producing that building, right? When did they build that building out, and then when did they need the general liability policy to kick in?
Correct.
And I mean, it's really cool with a lot of these companies. Again, like I said, there's not a lot of carriers that are willing to write it, but there are so many lines of business that each one of these clients needs, right? Like, I mean, all the way from property insurance so that they can make sure their greenhouses are good. They can do crop insurance, right?
Yep.
They can
That's
do
a thing
product
now.
liability.
Yep.
So, there's just not a ceiling that I see yet in this industry. I know it's going to continue to grow, and I'm excited, and I appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you breaking this down for me. Like, this makes me feel more comfortable and more confident having conversations with my clients, and I hope that this helps everybody else out there. Danny, anything else you want to say before we close out?
Yeah, I think that we need to kind of take a step back and look at the cannabis industry just like any other industry.
Okay.
Right? It's a business.
Yeah.
And business needs insurance. And
Absolutely.
And whether it's a general liability policy, crop, products liability, whatever aspect of the business you're in, it's no different than producing sodas or producing rum. I'm from Puerto Rico, so but yeah, it's no different. And so we have to look at the industry and these businesses as businesses, and they're going to have their accounting department, they're going to have their lawyers, they're going to have, and so that's what I hope everybody takes away from this, that it's just another industry. It's a business, and we have to regulate it, tax it, and do all of that, but we also need to put in the insurance component of it because we need to manage the risk associated with that business.
Absolutely. Man, bro, I appreciate it. You're so smart.
No.
Thanks for stopping by. This is Donte and Danny signing out. Join us for another episode of JAG University, soon to come out. Peace.